Hey everybody, Chris here. Welcome back to another episode of Woodmere Estate Revival. I'm working on the front porch today, trying to salvage as much of the old slate tile as I can. Sadly, the front porch has to be demolished. I'll show you here in a second why. We were really hoping to save it. It's a beautiful characteristic of the old house here, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to save it. So we're going to try to save all the slate we can and either reuse it on the front porch or possibly even use it or repurpose it in the butler's pantry, the back entry, and the back hallway. That may be another good place for us to use it. So let me show you exactly what I'm getting into here. So here you can see the patch that I started on. And thankfully I'm able to pop out most of the big tiles by going around the mortar joints with the rotor hammer, with the chisel bit. It's actually a tile bit, they call it. It's got kind of a slight angle to it. And that's allowing me to kind of work under the edge of the slate and loosen up the mortar and then pop up large pieces of slate that we can hopefully reuse. Here's some of the ones that I got popped loose here. As you can see, I got a lot to do. The porch is about 43, 44 feet long, something like that. And as you can see, it's just all covered in the slate. And this was beautiful at one point. Of course, it's kind of muddy right now. It's been so nasty around here. But yeah, this is really pretty. Here's part of the issue. So you can see the level of the brick skirt there. Well, that's supposed to be flush with the slate. And you can see how much it's dropped here. And the reason being is that, unfortunately, the concrete, when it was poured, was very poorly supported and has really settled. So over in the middle of the house, it's in pretty good shape, but it has dropped over an inch going down this way. And then all of the brick skirt really has come loose. You see so much of it has spalled and crumbled. Big gaps between the porch, the slate, and the brick skirt, and water has just been pouring off of the front of the house for years. I mean, so much of what we're fixing is related to deferred maintenance and water damage. You know, they let the gutters go on the front of the house and the water just poured off the front of the house for years, who knows how long. And then the water was just ponding here by the front porch and running underneath and washing out the support under the concrete, allowing the concrete to settle, taking the beautiful slate and everything with it. Here's another area. You can see this is almost an inch gap now between the slate and the brick skirt. I mean, the brick skirt's just falling away. It really gets bad over here. I mean, it's a couple inches. It's dropped a couple inches over here. You can see where I popped one of the pieces of slate loose. There's a break in the concrete there. But let me show you what's going on over here. So all along here, there were vents. I don't know if you remember the episode where we did the front porch excavation when we were doing the drainage, but we found vents underneath each one of the columns. And you can see the height of the dirt. Well, when the gutters went, then all that water just poured into those vents. We've got them concreted over right now. But all that water was just pouring in. And you can look underneath the slab now. There's nothing there. So it's no wonder this thing has just been slipping slowly towards oblivion. You see the skirt. I mean, just very, very bad condition. Settling and breaking, and you know, another big gap over on this side. So very disappointing, but again, I'm glad some of these slate tiles are popping up. We're going to be able to either use these on the front porch again or perhaps inside, as I mentioned. So I'm going to get back to work here with the trusty Bosch Bulldog and see how much of this I can get taken up today.
Perfect. Wow. That's awesome.
Works pretty good.
Yeah.
And 1,233 more to go.
Not that many. Says the slacker who's holding the camera.
And it's not dressed for work.
No, I won't be working. Now, if it were 20 or 30 degrees warmer, I would be all in.
Okay.
I see that concrete, like, you know, being broken up, and I'm like, oh, is that the slate?
Nope.
Well, the biggest question is, do you want to continue to do this or pay $600 for our contractors to do it?
I'll do it.
Oh, I think I'd pay the $600.
That'll buy some pool equipment.
You're right. That will buy some pool equipment.
All the nasty stuff I've done around here, this is not too bad.
No. It's just too much. Wow, that is awesome. Can't believe how those are just coming out like that. Are they wet underneath?
Well, I think this whole slab's just been saturated.
Yeah,
for
I
years
know.
with water, and it creeps down. This is natural stone, so it gets this stuff
Gets wet.
takes on water, gets in between the water and the mortar,
Yeah.
and eventually it just starts popping loose.
Well, it would be totally amazing if we can save all this and reuse it again on the porch.
Absolutely.
It's gorgeous. It's timeless.
Absolutely.
And, we know the concrete will eventually, get some cracks in it. And so if we could put this over it, I just think it would be a much better surface.
Yeah. Well, certainly
Prettier.
more in keeping with the style of the house.
Yeah. And just to be able to keep some history.
Well, this is what I've gotten done in the last, I don't know, maybe hour and a half. Some of them are coming up really easy. Some of them, the bond has obviously been broken between the cement or the mortar underneath, and others, it takes a little more chiseling. But the good news is they're all coming up, and you can see they're really coming up in one piece. This little stack of pieces over here, those were kind of fillers, in between the larger pieces. But these big ones are really all coming up, and they're coming up pretty nicely. The stone appears to be in pretty good shape. You can see good square edges still, and it's not really not really spalling or coming apart. So I think we'll be able to reuse most of this. Hopefully with our contacts with the local stonemason, we'll be able to find some replacement pieces just in case we don't have quite enough to do the whole project. But so far so good. The rotor hammer's working good. I mean, it's doing most of the work. Really, it's the vibrations of that thing as I'm working my way around the edges that really knock these pieces loose without having to do a lot of prying. I mean, really, by the time I work my way around all the edges, they're really pretty loose, and I can just kind of get under one edge and just barely push on them, and they're breaking loose. So far so good. We'll keep working here and try to get the rest of this end knocked out. So that wraps up this episode of Woodmere State Revival. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this afternoon while working on this front porch. I'm real happy with the amount of slate pieces I've been able to save so far. Really, all of them have come up, with the exception of just a few, without really any breakage. So very happy with that. I do think we're going to be able to just work our way across, take our time, and work on it a little bit here, a little bit there, and save all the slate. And then we just have to make a decision. We're going to reuse it on the front porch. I think that's kind of the way we're leaning, just because that's how the house was done originally, and there's some real charm and character with the slate, and it does give it a nice kind of a historic feel. So that's kind of the direction we're leaning. If ultimately we decide not to, then I think we'll do a slate floor in the back of the house there, around the mud room and back entry, back bathroom, and in the butler's pantry. So those are really the two options, and at this time I think we're still leaning towards getting the slate put back down on the front porch once we get the new slab poured. So again, thanks for hanging out today. Appreciate you guys tuning in for all of these episodes. Be sure to hit that subscription button so you don't miss any of the new ones coming out. If you haven't been following us very long, be sure to go back and watch the first several videos in the series just to get an idea of how far we've come over the last year and several months. It's been an amazing journey, and we're glad to have you guys along for the ride. Be sure to hit that like button, and if you have any questions, comments, or anything, be sure to leave those in the space provided below. And as always, we appreciate you guys sharing the channel with your friends and family. Pass it around so we can continue to gain subscribers and continue to get more folks out there who are following along in this project. But lots more to come. See you guys again real soon. Thanks.